Alrighty. It's hard to say if we're going to get any people in. It's still just 6 o'clock, but a storm might be on the way, and I've got a chance to talk to myself without visitors thinking I'm nuts. The birth of a molar gay bed bow. Some people pronounce it molly gay bed, or just call them mollies, but I had a person that actually speaks the language say it's molar gay bed. Okay, before I get into this fine piece of woodwork, I have to share a band and an artist for you. If you like the blues, if you're a fan of Stevie Ray Vaughan and such music as that, you owe it to yourself to check out Larkin Poe. Larkinpoe is an Edgar Allan. It's a duet. Actually, they've got a drummer and everything else at times, but it's composed of the Lovell sisters, Megan and Rebecca. One of them, I'm not sure which, plays the mandolin and the guitar. The other one plays the dobro. Excellent musicians. The next one is Samantha Fish. Check out Samantha Fish. You will be impressed by her guitar playing. If she had a baby with Stevie Ray Vaughan, that baby would take over the world. She is that good. Okay, on to this. Now I had, what faced me was a board. A nice, beautiful hickory board, 71 inches of length, and 1.5 or 1.5 inches in width. Now looking at that, I had a range of bows I could do. I could have done an Oneida style bow, which has that beautiful belly detailing. I could have done any number of Aboriginal, North American Aboriginal D bows. I could have made an English longbow. You know what? A narrow, long piece of wood like that suits itself. But the bow that really speaks to me at this point in time, because it depends on what day you ask, is the molar gay bed, a very ancient European style bow, noted for its needly tips. There's some structural gains to that, efficiency gains, but I'm not going to get into that. I will allow you to do your own research. Let's just speed our way through here, talk about the order of operations. Okay. In my case, people do it differently, of course. You know, everyone has their own ways of removing wood. That piece of wood has a bow within it. How can I chip it out? Well, my way is first, I'm going to get my centers down, my center lines between the tips and the handle. In this case, it was such a straight board that it was just, you know, everything was centered to begin with, so that was not a concern. That allowed me to draw the face. I called this the back, the face. It's not really a profile, but let's call it a face profile. Now, when I work the face, at the beginning, a thick piece of wood, it takes, you know, an effort to get through it and make sure you're working at right angles and stuff. I use a rasp. I do. You could use a table saw, you could use a bandsaw, you could use a sharp hatchet, you could use all sorts of things, but me personally, I like the rasp. The Farrier's rasp, in this case, this is a Bellota high carbon Italian steel. It works hickory like it's balsa wood. It really works it fast, so that was no biggie to work it down. And actually, with those radical teeth on that Farrier's rasp, provided that you have good technique, which I would like to think I do, it leaves a smooth surface. Yes, you can leave a smooth surface with those radical teeth. It all depends on how you work it. And I get it down close. I'm not going to get it right down to the exact face shape, because when you're dealing with going through a lot of wood, because this is still thick, the precision is a little more difficult. So I work it down close, rasping it and then hand sanding it. Here I like hand sanding. You know, it's slower, but what the heck. I have a lot more control to get the rounds right here. I guess I don't need to say anything more than that. I just rasp the heck out of it and sand it. Next, I shall pick a tree diameter. Because there are certain advantages, especially with hickory, because of its high tensile strength, to crown the back, I shall pick a diameter of potential tree. In this case, it was 5.5 inch diameter, so using my scraper, it's just a scraper, I scrape it down so the whole thing follows that radius right there. And it's remarkable how it looks so much better with a rounded back than just a board looking thing. Next, I shall start working down the thickness. When you work down the thickness, it's easier to work the face, so that's why I don't do the finished face, you know, until I get the thickness. I scribe it, and I'm generous. I scribed it a lot thicker than it needed to be. And then using my rasp, in this way, I don't try to do it straight down. I do it away from this bottom side, and then again this way, which leaves me with a hump down the center, which I then rasp to flatten it. You know, I get that first thing. Now I'm able to like put it on the ground and just judge the bendiness. It's still stiff as heck, so I know I need to remove a lot more. Now the next phase, I'm not going to taper the thickness. I'm just going to a constant thickness through here. The finished bow will be have a taper through here, but at this point, not necessary. I'll sand the sides to get the exact. I'm going right to where I want it, smoothing the sides, and then with a very sharp pencil in the Scribe-O-Matic, go back over it in this area. I'm not worried about the tips yet. I will work them down later. This is the bending portion, so this is just, you know, sculpture. I will then thin it out, doing the same thing, and then scrape it afterwards to get rid of any irregularities, sand it to make sure when I look down it like this, it's there, and then try to bend it again. From there, the next dose, I will have, just because I've made so many bows, an idea of how much thinner I need to make it. Now, a consequence of this, when I use the Scribe-O-Matic, I make sure that these things are symmetrical in the rounding. I will, my last one before tillering, final tillering, with sanding, I will do two lines, different thickness, and then put the taper in by eye. And because I have sharp pencil lines and the sides have been smooth, this thing will be tillered before it even touches a string. You know, it just comes with experience. But of course, it needs to be down to 45 pounds at 28 inches of draw, I believe. I'll recheck that. I will do final tillering with the sandpaper. The benefit of this, working with this kind of precision, is that I'm not damaging it whatsoever by tillering it from a 150-pound bow down to a 45-pound bow. I'll probably be tillering it with the string, getting it from a 55-pound bow down to a 45-pound bow, so my chances of gaining string follow or damaging the wood will be a lot less than tillering it from the get-go, you know, bending it and removing and bending it, removing it. I really prefer this method of using the Scribe-O-Matic and working with precision, working it down instead of just the precise method of tillering that most people use. Anyway, that is all. It's time to guide the turkeys across the road so they don't get whacked by a car. Thank you for watching, and definitely check out Larkin Poe and Samantha Fish.